I love how that song, American Girl, was what Steve chose to do before the talk. Because I want you to know that that song conditioned you. Do you realize that? Do you realize there's a hidden agenda behind what is an American girl? When I grew up, what American Girl was, an American girl was someone who found that American guy. And then they sort of hooked up. And then they had 2.2 children. They lived in the suburbs. They had a nice sprawling ranch. Nice cars, country club membership. And they had a mortgage, they did this, they did that. There was this whole preconceived idea. And we get caught in this nonsense dream. So here's what I'm going to redefine what an American girl is for me. And I'll say an American guy as well. Or maybe a guy of the world and a woman of the world. It's someone who's free and without age. So today we're going to explore the science of mind. Living the science of mind, we're going to explore how old are you? Isn't that a great question? How old are you? See this? This is 2. I'm going back to 2. And you know what? All of your expectations that you have on me, you can stuff them. Because I don't care what you expect of me anymore. I'm going to live to my fullest heart desire, because if I'm not, I'm depriving myself of my unique life experience. I didn't and you didn't come here to please anyone. And I think when we try to please, we become old really fast. So how old do you think you are? Is it possible that age is something that happens to our mind and not our bodies? Think about that. Is it possible that age is something that happens here that maybe demonstrates here? Go on, what does science say? Science says our body replaces ourselves about every 14 months. So the man you are looking at right here, this is June. So March 2017, I'm a different man in my body. And doesn't not look good. I'm working on this. I'm creating a sculptor. Because when I go to Italy with Gene, I think we'll do it next year. When I go to Italy with Gene, I'm going to find today's Michelangelo, and I'm going to have him sculpt this. And you're saying, what an ego. And I said, thank you, I have one. And you see, I'm not concerned with how you look at me. Do you notice how I'm playing a game with you right now? It's not about me caring. I'm going to express myself as that 2-year-old, that 3-year-old, that unencumbered little boy that I remember, that I'm becoming more aware of. So our minds do not age. The mind is as young at 90 as it is at 9. The only thing that changes it is the experience we've added into it. Do you get that? That's really a tremendous insight to realize that the mind doesn't change, it just has more experience brought into it. So our subconscious mind keeps getting all the experience we've had. It's added in, it's added in, it's added in, and that becomes the mental atmosphere, and that atmosphere is what creates our life. Do you get that? It creates our life. So the next point I want to make is, in reality, time is not a way of measuring years, days, or months, but rather a measurement of experience in a limitless and infinite life. Does that make sense? Do you feel that? That time is a measurement of experience. We've gotten confused and said it's a measurement of age. So what are we doing by being a measurement of age? We're stopping our experience. And I thought about that, and I've said, I want to be an example for my new granddaughter. And I'm saying, how cool is it that my granddaughter is going to know that her grandfather at 67 years of age is going to Tibet to hike around Mount Kailash at 18 to 15,000 feet? How many grandfathers at that age do that? Almost none. My granddaughter's going to learn that I'm going to show her by the demonstration of who I am that things are possible that other people don't do. Now, you don't have to do crazy stuff like me, but I want my granddaughter to know crazy. Crazy is good because what is crazy? Crazy is not that I'm trying to hurt myself. Crazy is that someone else has expectations that I'm going outside of what they expect, and therefore, because I'm not doing what someone wants, I'm labeled as crazy. Well, no. You're crazy because you're prisoning yourself by doing what everyone else thinks. I think that's crazy. I think when we live up to everyone else's expectations, that's crazy. Not only is that crazy, that's bad for our health. That's bad for our mental, emotional, and spiritual health. We were born free. Ernest Holmes says, people do not grow old when they're busy with the pleasures of living, the enjoyment, the expectation, the enthusiasm, and the thought of what is yet to come. The question I ask, what is it within you that you can't wait to experience, that you're desiring to experience? And the thing is, you don't have to leave where you are to experience it because the journey is inside your mind. Who remembers the group, the Amboy Dukes? A few of us. A few of us. Ted Nugent was in the Amboy Dukes. This is back in the 60s, late 60s. And he did a song called Journey to the Center of the Mind. And isn't that what we're trying to do? We're trying to get down to the center of the mind where we find out what is that joy within us. And we want to bring that joy forward and build clarity around that joy and start living to that joy. And when we're living that joy, there is no age. You're so caught in the moment of life, and when you're in the moment of life, there's nothing but joy. Your physical age or that chronological number means nothing. And when you're in that joy, there is no time. You're in the moment. Did you get that? You're in the moment. You don't have to worry about being in the moment. If you're not in the moment, if you're just constantly thinking about time, this, you're not doing what you love. Got to find that love. Don Miguel Ruiz, I read this yesterday on the plane. The normal frequency of humans before domestication is to explore and enjoy life. You are all domesticated. You get that? So what does that mean? Let's look at that. We domesticate humans the same way we domesticate a dog or any other animal. We domesticate them with punishment and reward. And we call it education. But education is nothing but the domestication of the human being. Did you get that? Why are there 1 million children in the United States under the age of 6 on antidepressants? Why? Because they refuse to be domesticated. And because they refuse to be domesticated, we label them as what? Crazy. They're not following our rules, and so what do you got to do? We got to domesticate them. And we do it with punishment and reward, or we do it with pills. We weren't meant here to be like everyone else here. We were meant to be here unique and to coexist together in that uniqueness, realizing that we could all build our dreams together. They say the domestication starts after like about age 3, sometimes earlier, depending on how much control we put on our children. And our children at the age of 2, what is the one word a child says at 2 that they say over and over and over again? Noah. No. Exactly. The child knows how to say no, but how many of you have forgotten to say no? You've forgotten to say no to your dreams. You've allowed other people come in to throw their expectations on you, and you say, okay, I'll do that. Okay, you're right, I'll listen to what you think of me. Okay, I'll change because you want me to change. Instead of looking me in the eyes and say, thank you very much, but no thank you. I'll decide what's best for me. I'm a unique expression of the divine. No one knows better for me than me. That's taking our power. That's being self-loving. That's being a rebel. If you're here at Agape, and all of you listening to this and watching this out there, you're rebels. Because if you've gotten this far into the service, you're a rebel. There's something in you saying, I feel the chains, I feel shackled, I want to be free to have a better life. I see your smiles, you can't hide it, you know it. And so what you're wanting is, what can I do? The first thing you've got to do is you've got to say yes to you and say no to anything not like you. Life is awareness combined with aligned activity. And when we stop being aware, we turn away from the newness of life. What is it? You can see the newness of life when you look into the eyes of a baby. They have no preconceived ideas. When the little girl, when Claire is looking at me, she doesn't know any of my history. She doesn't know any of my past. She just knows there's an energy. And I talked a little bit about this in class this morning. This is one of the most pure things that a child does. When a child is handed to a person and the child starts to cry, the child is saying, that person you're handing me to, their energy does not vibrate with me. Do you get that? When you hand a child to someone and the child coos and caws and is fine, they're saying that the energy is a vibrational match. And so when I went to go visit my granddaughter this week, I made sure that before I got off that plane, I'd done my meditation work. I had cleared my mind of everything related to being a minister, everything related to being a husband, everything related to being a father. I cleared my mind of everything so that I could be in a new role I've never been in before. I've never been a grandfather. So I have the ability to see it now with new eyes. So in order to see things with new eyes, you've got to clear your mind of preconceived ideas that anyone or anything has and just be present with an expression of God that is pure. Think about that. No judgment. So when I took Claire into my arms, she smiled. I sat down, I put her on my lap, and that's pretty much where she stayed for 3 days. And we talked. She couldn't understand a word I said, but here's what she did. She resonated with the energy in which I said it. So all you single people out there, you know who you are. When you are about to go on a date and you meet this man or this woman and the energy says, ooh, but you go, oh, wait a second, not bad looking, got a steady job, got a nice car, I'll just ignore the energy that I'm feeling and I think I'll go on this date. And then I'll see, oh, it wasn't that bad. I think I'll make it work. But inside, there's an energy saying, no. Guess who's setting themselves up to get screwed? And I'm not saying a good screwed. I'm saying a bad screwed. Because we're not listening to the baby in us. We're not listening to that unencumbered energy that tells us that we're going into a vibrational match. I had the opportunity to do a wedding a week ago on Friday. And over in the corner, you'll look up, stand up, Justin and Sarah, stand up and let people know who you are. And I want you to know that I've known Justin and Sarah a long time 8 years, 9 years, something like that, a long time. So I've witnessed their courtship. But they did this choreographed dance that they put together. And if you watched that dance, you saw the energy. There weren't two energies, there was one energy. That's love. That's acceptance. That's what life is about. And it should be easy. Doesn't mean there's not work. It means it should be easy. It shouldn't have to be forced. Youth is not a time of life. It is a state of mind. Nobody grows old by living merely a number of years. People grow old by deserting their dreams and deserting experiencing the newness of life and all of the newness that life has to offer. This is really critical. What are you dreaming about? Is it just an itty-bitty dream? A dream that adults say you can have? Or is it that child dream? And you realize that you can take a step toward it every day. Every day you can take a step toward that dream. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity, what your sexuality. It matters nothing. You have that ability because there's a power in you that responds to the nature of your belief. Do you hear that? The simplest words about all that we teach here is it is done unto as you believe. If you get that, if you really get that, then you realize that your life is mirroring back to you what you believe. So if there's something in your life you want different, you must go within and say, what belief do I need to create to establish that into my life? You get that belief. Someone said to me earlier, I want a grandchild too. As long as you're in a state of, I want a grandchild, you're not going to get a grandchild. I forgot that my son was going to adopt. I forgot. And all of a sudden, boom, Dad, you're a grandfather. Whoa, prayer demonstrated. You see, it's when we forget we want something, we forget when we need something because we're living as if it already happened. We don't have a void in our life that we're trying to fill. We realize that our lives are complete as they are, and then when our lives are felt incomplete, then the demonstration of what we put out there as a desire to have comes into our life. Here's the thing. We've got to accept the premise. It's a step-by-step process. We're building on it all the time. It's not something that we leapfrog quantum leaps. It's something that is built on. Beliefs happen over time. They don't happen like this. That's an unrealistic expectation. That's a sure form of sabotage. That's one of the big things in New Thought, which we're a part of. New Thought, we sabotage ourselves because we think we can make the quantum leap. Our human mind doesn't work that way. We're conditioned. You hear that? We're conditioned. We're as young as our faith. We're as old as our doubt. As young as our confidence, as old as our fear, young as our hope, and old as our despair. Age is a state of mind. There are a lot of people in their 30s and 40s who are really old. Really, really old. Because they've forgotten to dream. They've forgotten that the power is in them, and they live a life where they're trying to please everyone in their lives. What I want for you is a life with no limitation. I want a life where you're unique, you're whole, you're perfect, you're an individual, and the only reason we're here together as a community, that's what we are a community. We're not even a family. A family's really small. We're not small. We're a community because we're here to support each other as we build and live and create our individual dream. And while we're creating our unique individual dream, we support each other creating all of it. The question is, and this is where it's got to start, are you ready to be two again? Are you ready to dream like a 2-year-old? Are you ready to let go of all that nonsense that you've allowed to fill your mind that's created a prison for yourself. Because it's only in that prison where we experience hate, fear, despair, anger, helplessness. You see, a 2-year-old doesn't feel that. They only say, I can do it. I remember at 16 when my father says you can't have the car to take Mary Netskoda on a date. I says, I'm going to find a way. I didn't find a car, but I walked over. They didn't want me to see her, but I found a way because I was a rebel. We've got to be rebels. Otherwise, we'll never live our dreams. Your prayers are a declaration into the infinite universal power of your uniqueness, of your individuality. Make them worthy of the God that you are. Let's pray. I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask that you go to our website, agapecsl.com. Once there, click on the donate button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. Or if you would like, text your gift by simply dialing 972-532-6976. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to you in the world. I would ask that if you like this message, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Lee Wolak. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in the Agape community as we learn how to better self-love through conscious living.